So the testimony from those who saw Oswald inside the book depository is consistent. The testimony from eyewitnesses in the plaza below is not. The Warren Commission had to choose between seriously conflicting accounts, and many of the critics think it chose badly. Down in the plaza, Eddie Barker can show us where those witnesses stood and what they were in a position to see as they tell their own stories.
Dan, Arnold Roland was here with his wife on Houston Street in the crowd waiting for the motorcade. A few minutes before it arrived, Roland told the Warren Commission, he noticed an elderly Negro man up in the window where you are now, where Oswald is supposed to have fired from. But he told the commission, and a few days ago repeated his story for us here, of seeing a gunman lurking in another window entirely.
I just looking around and we noticed a man up in the window, and I remarked to my wife, tried to point him out, and remarked that he must be a security guard, Secret Service agent.
The window then that you're referring to is on the opposite end of the building from where the main entrance to the building is.
Yes, it is on the other side of the building. And he had a rifle. It looked like a high-powered rifle because it had a scope which looked in relation to the size of the rifle to be a big scope.
Now, over here, Dan, still on Houston Street and not very far from the Rolands, was Mrs. Carolyn Walther. Mrs. Walther says that she saw two men with a gun in the book depository.
I looked at this building and I saw this man with the gun, and there was another man standing to his right, and I could not see all of this man, and I couldn't see his face. And the other man was holding a short gun. It wasn't as long as a rifle. And he was holding it pointed down, and he was kneeling in the window or sitting. His arms were on the window, and he was holding the gun in a downward position, and he was looking downward.
About what floor would you say these two men were on that you saw in the window?
The first statement that I made, I said the man was on the 4th or the 5th floor, and I still felt the same way. He was just about in a window that was just about even with the top of that tree. I thought the man had light hair or brown and was wearing a white shirt. But I explained to the FBI agents that I wasn't sure about that. That was just my impression. I'm thinking about it later, that I thought that was the way the man was dressed.
Now, what about this other man who was in the window?
This other man was wearing a brown suit, and that was all I could see was half of this man's body, from his shoulders to his hips.